You're watching 90s Rock in 9 minutes. I'm Sam Bass, this is Ashley, and today we're going over the Battle of Los Angeles by Rage Against the Machine. Honestly, do you remember Rage Against the Machine? Did you ever?
Nope, I never really got into them until recently.
From my 90s memory bank, I remember the song Bulls on Parade, the one that's like, rally around the family, pocket full of shell. You know what I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I heard that on the radio and I instantly loved it. That's not on this album though.
Oh.
But I recently just bought all their records just to just kind of give them a real chance, instead of just the radio singles. I wanted to know what's the deal with Rage.
Mm-hmm.
And this album, The Battle of Los Angeles, is shot to one of my favorite albums of all time. Yeah. It's in my top 5.
Yeah. I heard about them before I got into them. I heard Demi Lovato. She just came out with a new album, and she was referencing them because she goes really hard in this latest album, and so I think they were a inspiration for her.
What is she?
She was just saying with the interviewer that if you listen to that kind of stuff, you really go hard, you really rock hard. And so, she was talking about some really hard stuff. I don't know. So I was just like, well, if she's saying they go really hard, they must go hard. And so I was curious about what they were all about. And now I know.
I go hard every time I listen to this album.
Mm-hmm.
As soon as I put this album in, the song Testify just comes in and just boom. And I remember that. I remember Testify, Guerrilla Radio, Calm Like a Bomb, Sleep Now in the Fire from the 90s. The videos would come out and they were on the radio.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but I didn't realize, I never gave the album a chance. And as soon as it hits, it just does not stop. I mean, there's the first 7 songs are just rocking your balls completely off. You're like a eunuch after you listen to the first 7 songs. And then Maria, that's one of those songs where I have to say, the guitar player, he's really experimental.
Mm-hmm.
And every now and then, I feel like one of his experiments really it's grating. It's too screechy or too high pitched of a noise.
Yes.
And it doesn't sound
good.
good.
Talking about.
Yeah.
I could see where they were going with that, but I agree. If you actually just listen to it, it is audibly uncomfortable. And maybe they did that purposely. I could see them doing that.
Yeah, just kind of you know what? If you're really a fan of Rage, you're willing to sit through.
You're all about the discomfort.
Yeah, the discomfort. You're right. It's like a discomfort of your place in society. Your discomfort of even listening to a band talking about that discomfort.
They want you to be comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Wow. Comfortable with being uncomfortable. When I bought their whole discography right off the bat, the first album, the self-titled, that has the song Killing in the Name.
Mm-hmm.
And that song is literally talking about how there's racist, in the police force and stuff that is probably more, that song is more relevant today than it ever was. And those kind of things are very uncomfortable subjects, and they're the only band I've heard of that just keeps that. They keep the message, they keep exposing different things, making you ask questions. Well, why is it like this? Well, I never thought of that.
Right.
And
kind of like preachers.
Yeah, they are kind of like preachers, and it goes with the music. The music's hard in your face, and then you start jamming. You psychologically are jamming. You're like, man.
That's true. I didn't put that together, but that's very true.
So this album got Artist of the Year, Album of the Year for Rolling Stone. They got Band of the Year by Spin Magazine. And number 1 Album of the Year by Time. This came out on November 2nd, 1999. That's pretty amazing that it came out in November and it won that whole year's category.
Wow. Yeah, I didn't think about that.
Rage Against the Machine played on the stage at Woodstock 99. And that Woodstock 99 is known for like the debauchery, the fires, and the riots that took place. I feel like they don't ever get any blame for that, which they should. No band should get blamed for that, but I'm just saying. Limp Bizkit, they got the brunt of that negative publicity. And like we said, Flea, completely stark naked on stage, swinging his balls around. And they were playing when the bonfire started. What's the deal with that? You know what I mean?
I don't know. I think that should definitely be a conversation we have here.
We need to have a conversation about Flea's nuts.
Maybe if they were there at the show or somehow know a lot about that, maybe they should get some.
Oh, yeah. If you were at Woodstock 99, please let us know in the comments. Did you see Rage on stage? And did you see Limp Bizkit? And did you see Flea's nuts?
Flea's nuts?
Yeah.
That's interesting 2 words put together.
And they were shaved. How did this turn into Flea's nuts?
Well, we might have to backtrack.
We're just going to put this away and finish up with Flea's shaved nutsack on 90s Rock in 9 minutes.
Oh my God.
I really can't say it enough. This album, to me, is perfect from beginning to end, even with the one song, Maria, that's kind of like screechy. So.
Was this their first album, second album?
Oh, this is actually their 3rd album.
Okay. 3rd time's a charm.
That's what I was going to say. After this album, they literally came out with an album of covers and then broke up right before it was released.
Oh, no.
Yeah, in the next year.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, this really was sort of their swan song, I have to say.
Swan song?
Yeah, you never heard of that?
Mm-mm.
It's just like, it means that, like, your greatest work. Well, they broke up in the year 2000, and then they sort of reunited in, like, the mid-2000s for a couple of shows, but they weren't really, like, back.
Mm.
And then they were just trying to do this tour in 2022, 2023, when the singer literally tore his tendon in his leg and had to cancel the whole thing.
He raged too hard.
He raged way too hard.
How old is he now? Is he over 50?
Yeah, he's probably in his 50s.
Okay.
If you ever watch him on stage, you got a good point. He's just jumping around. I mean, he's more into it than a lot of singers I've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
And, I mean, the only person that went harder than him was Flea with his nutsack flopping around.
Imagine them together.
Wow, that would be great.
That would be some show.
You know, I really hope that they are able to get back together, and I hope he heals up.
He'll be fine. It's just a torn muscle for the most part.
Yeah, he just literally tore his ACL off the bone. He'll be fine. I wish they would have done what Dave Grohl and Foo Fighters did. When he literally fell off stage, shattered his leg. Did you hear about this?
Yeah, I saw some footage.
And then they wheeled him back on stage. He finished that show and then went on the rest of the tour sitting in a throne. Like, props to that man. I really like driving around to this record when I throw it in my car and just hit play. But you got to watch out because you don't want it to turn into road rage against the machine.
That's what I was just thinking. Like, I don't know if that would help the road rage.
It probably doesn't.
If you have road rage, maybe you should not drive machinery while you're listening to this because it could be a danger to you.
You're going to be like, testify. Come like a bomb.
Yeah.
So Rage Against the Machine, The Battle of Los Angeles, one of the greatest albums I've ever heard in my life. Pick it up. You've been watching 90s Rock in 9 minutes with Sam Bass and Ashley. Be sure to comment and what?